We got Shauna out there recording us. Are you ready?
I'm hiding the vape for the pics, dude. All right.
Hey, welcome back to This is Florida. We got a real banger for you this week. Beat the bank. But before we get into it, I'm Nate Riggs. I'm here with Josh Lovely.
Welcome to This is Florida, everybody. I want to stop Nate in his tracks. Let's address the haircut.
Yeah, I did
Looks
get a haircut.
fantastic.
Nice.
Leave a
Nice
comment.
haircut.
Tell us what you think while you're liking, while you're subscribing. Tell us what you think of Nate's
I told the
haircut.
barber, give me a little less Leonard Skinnerd and a little bit more Nickelback. So very Chad Kroger going on.
I feel like you're throwing it in my face as a bald man. So let's just move along. This is Florida. How to beat the bank.
That's
Nate.
right. And before we get started, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure your notifications are on because you don't want to miss this.
All right, Nate. So we're talking how to beat the bank. So we're talking interest rates. So let's talk.
That's right. Let's talk about it. So what are interest rates today? We'll get to that in a minute. We got a couple other things to talk. You know, all the time I see it in the memes. I see it on Facebook and online. I hear it from people. Oh, our parents had it so much easier than we do today. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit. Might be a little controversial, but we just have data.
We're spitting hot takes over here.
We can't ignore the data. So,
Exactly.
Josh, what do you want to get into first here?
Historic interest rates. So this is a battle I fight every day talking about interest rates. Where are we today, Josh? What's my rate today? Historic interest rates all time. We are at 7.75 across the board since it's been being tracked. And we're absolutely under that today.
So hold on a second. You're telling me that if today's rates are hovering around the low sixes, like 6.3, if the average is 7.75, then that means they're not high interest rates. They're actually low interest rates.
A little bit lower.
That's right. You know, we got kind of spoiled. I know a lot of people out there, and you might have some friends, maybe your older brother or sister bought a house a few years back, and hey, listen, they took advantage of the market that was going on, right place, right time, right?
Exactly.
But now we're kind of back to normal. And so we're in a normal market, so we got to do those things as your agent, as your lender, that allow you to save as much money as possible, get qualified for the house, and make the purchase.
So we're here. We got ways to beat the bank. But first, Nate, let's hop in the Wayback Machine. Throw some Wayback Machine sounds on this when you edit it.
Ooh, yeah.
That's going to be right now.
Okay.
So we're in the Wayback Machine. Back in the year 1987. Why was that a good year, Nate?
It was a good year because your boy Josh Lovely and I were both born.
Ooh, we just
summertime,
actually.
Summertime.
And
August
July.
10th, 1987. Go ahead and mark it on your calendar. I'll be expecting the birthday card.
Me as well. That's why we have such a good time at Margaritaville. A couple of summer babies. Anyway,
That's right.
1987, the beautiful summer of love. What were the interest rates while we were being born, Nate?
Average interest rate. Average,
of course.
10.3%. And in fact, they were on their way down from their average peak of 18% in 1981. So you think about that, from 81 to 87, only down 6%. So they took the stairs down, right? They might have took the elevator up. They took the stairs down. Yeah. I talked to my dad on the phone, and listen to this, because going back to my original statement, our parents had it easier. My dad bought a house in 1987, a little bit above average, 14% interest rate.
Woo! And I think about that year, my dad was an E4, E5 in the Navy with a couple of young kids. And they were, fighting the same battles that people are fighting today, trying to afford a home. And Nate, was it easier then or was it harder?
All right, so we're going to kind of look into this. First, let's look at household income. In 1987, average household income was about $30,000, where today it's about $70,000. So, okay, it went up, inflation, money, all this stuff. But whatever, it was about $30,000. So maybe you made $2,500 a month on average as a household. And maybe today you bring in almost $6,000 average.
Yeah, and so bottom line here, right? In 1987, the average family spent about 30% of their income on their house. What do you think that number is today, Nate?
Boy, you know what? I wonder what it is. Well, we got some stats here too. Actually, according to NEFAR.com, we can see the average price of the houses. We've got census.gov, gobankingrates.com. So we've done a lot of homework in this. But today, your average monthly payment at about $1,700 comes out to just about 31% of your household monthly income.
So, Nate, you're telling me almost exactly the same percentage of monthly income on average was being spent the year we were born and 2023 today.
That's right, because what happens is everybody looks at the average price of a home in 1987 at $104,000, and they look at the average price of the home today at $360,000, and they say, "Oh, my parents only had to spend $100,000." Well, also they're overlooking the fact that average house size today is 2,600 square foot, where back then it was 1,700 square foot. So, Josh, in a way, It's actually better today than it was back then because 30% of your income gets you almost twice the house.
Exactly. And I think back then, I mean, I remember fighting with my sister for space. You tell me it was actually smaller, wasn't it? Just in my memory.
Yeah, so the houses were smaller, but here's the deal. Today we're talking about beating the bank. So we've got that out of the way. We've kind of defeated the myth that it was easier for our parents than it was today. That's really just an excuse, but you're out there shopping. You're like, okay, forget it. I'm over the myth.
I don't care about the numbers.
That's
It's
it.
me today.
I don't
How do
care.
I win today?
And I still want to get a much lower rate. And guess what? Josh and I are out here doing it. What's the number one way we didn't do it? We can ask the seller for concessions. So what's this mean?
So the seller can give you money toward your closing costs. And in this high rate environment, well, we've actually just addressed, hey, historically it's not so much. But if you think it's a high rate environment, let's go. We can take money from the seller and use it as a buy down for you. Now there's many options. We can do a 2-1 buy down, we can do a 1-0, but let's just talk about a regular old buy down, Nate. That's taking money and purchasing a lower interest rate for the lifetime of the loan. We can throw technical terms in there. We could use all the banking terms, but bottom line, you pay money, get a lower rate, get a lower payment. Now, that money, if you have a great realtor like Mr. Nate Riggs next to me here, will be coming from the seller.
That's right. You can save up this money and you can do it yourself. Or when you work with a stellar team like us, we're going to teach you how to make informed decisions, and we're going to help negotiate those, on your behalf. So just yesterday, we were looking at a house. We went and showed some homes, and guess what we did? We negotiated almost all the closing costs paid plus a rate buy down for our buyer. So we're pretty excited about that. That's a big win, but that's something that's going on in today's market. So as the market settles, as interest rates do creep up, sellers are going to have to get a little creative, and they're kind of have to give some of that equity back. When everybody saw, hey, I got, my home appreciated 30% last year, and we said, well, that's not going to stay around forever. And what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that prices are necessarily going to plummet. It just means that they might have to return some of that equity if they really want to buy or if they're serious about selling.
Exactly. And this is how you can take advantage of the market when you have that professional realtor, when you form your team like we've talked about in previous podcasts. You have those professionals behind you like Nate and I hustling over the weekend saying, hey, this guy's rate is terrible. Can we get the seller to pay for it? You got your guy over here. I don't know how the negotiations work. They don't sound like fun to me, but he's getting the money to pay for it. And that, my friends, is called beating the bank.
I read a couple books.
I read a couple of books. That client is not paying a 6.5% interest rate. That client will have a 5.5%, and the seller paid it. It makes no difference to him.
That's right. So there's really a lot of ways that you can purchase a home today in 2023. And you know what? You can do it a lot easier than our parents did in the mid-'80s.
We don't have this on the show notes. I do that. I feel like I do this every episode.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Dude, get motivated. Stop making excuses.
That's it.
Get out there. Let's talk. If you're not pre-qualified, how do we get you there? If you haven't started the process, let's get you pre-qualified so we can take advantage of this market. And hey, we could get enough to where you're coming to the table with next to nothing. And that's always the goal, is to put you in the best financial situation.
That's it. All of these notes with the actual numbers, I'm going to be posting a link to my blog below. Go ahead and click it and check it. If you want to see for yourself, and I've got the references, you can click on the websites, you can read the articles. I mean, these are just, we went to like FreddieMac.com. There's no article here. It's just like, this is a statistic. We've kind of put this together ourselves. I'm going to be putting it in the blog form so you can read it yourself. You can click on the links and you can see all the data. And, I think that will help make the decision even that much easier to get out there, start investing, start buying real estate today.
And absolutely, Nate, the reason that you study this, the reason that we know these numbers isn't for me, isn't for you. It's for you people out there who are watching, who are liking, who are subscribing, and who want to purchase that home.
Hey, if you like what you're hearing, then subscribe to the channel, watch the next video, hit the like button.
Hit it.
We'll see you next time.
Next time.